Chris Dorenzo, and from Barry Munday.
Awesome. The film was great.
Thank you.
I heard the response last night at the screening was that yesterday afternoon?
Yeah, afternoon, matinee.
Okay. How was the response for you?
It was fantastic. I mean, it was the first time I had ever had it play in front of an audience. I didn't watch it. I kind of hung back and would periodically check in, but it was so bizarre that there were times I would check in and people would laugh at things I didn't even know were jokes, and it was fantastic. You couldn't have asked for a better reaction.
How do you like the crowd here at South by?
It's fantastic. I mean, I think, like I said in the Q&A, for me with this film, music was so important, and to come to a place where people not only love music so much, but love film so much, and I mean, really, like you can feel it the minute you step off a plane here that there's just it seems like such a no-brainer. Like, this is the perfect place for us, and we have just felt so welcomed, and it's been a real treat.
So another treat. What was it like locking up a cast like that?
It was crazy, right? It's just it's the very first thing I've ever directed, so I've definitely been spoiled with getting to work with some of my heroes, Billy Dee and Malcolm and Sybil and Gene Smart and all these just tremendous actors. It was, I think, at first daunting, but then then we just kind of got into it, and it made my job just so much easier. It's like everyone's awesome. Every take I can use. Like, there's something that someone's doing that's amazing all the time. So, and the other thing when you have actors like that was really great was everyone really brought an authorship to the movie. Like, everyone had their own little specific thing because they're total pros. So there are things that are in this movie that have enriched this movie that I wouldn't have even thought of, that were just so great, and just so many gifts that each actor brought to their character. It was really cool.
So who put the idea out there for Malcolm and Sybil to be this really just strange, like, clothes-matching couple?
Yeah, well, that was like kind of one of my earliest pitches to them, because I think the day before I met Sybil, I was with some family in Disneyland, and I was walking around, and there was this old couple that were wearing matching outfits, and I just thought it was so amazing. I was like, that is fantastic. And so I pitched it to her first. I was like, what do you think of this idea? You guys always just wear the same outfit. She's like, I love it. And then we talked about, having them have monograms on everything too. And he had, in the script it was always Tom Farley, but she was always Mrs. Farley, and she never had a first name. And so Sybil came up with the fact that her name was Marley Farley, which was so absurd that we kind of loved it. So she's Marley Farley. Which is only adds another level of specificity to what's totally wrong with that marriage, that she married someone that was the worst possible last name for her first name. So it was pretty fun.
How hard was it finding non-gender specific clothing that she could pull off with Malcolm?
Well, I have one of the most fantastic costume designers, Frank Helmer, who with every character, one of the things that we really wanted to do was I told Frank that every character, we want to trap them in the era in which they were their coolest, and just kind of stick them there. So he was really specific about coming up with these really great, Barry with his tucked in rugby shirts and things from the mid to early 90s, and Billy with his 80s style suits, and so when it came to Malcolm and Sybil, I think the athletic tracksuit thing, and also I wanted to kind of create this, I wanted to do the imposing father thing with Malcolm, but I didn't want to do the traditional, he's got taxidermy on the walls and shotguns and stuff like that, which you've kind of seen before. So I decided to make him this Jack LaLanne, former fitness guy. So then that's where I think the tracksuits all kind of came out of that idea.
It's probably come up a lot, especially given the subject of the film, but what was it like completing the trilogy for Patrick as far as impotence?
I like it. I like that I get to put the nail in that coffin. It's done. It didn't even really occur to me when he agreed to do the film. And it didn't bother me at all. I mean, I think, at the end of the day, what it's about is just discovering what it means to be a man, and I think in this era where me as a 38-year-old, I'm still playing Xbox 360, I think, that coming of age story is coming later now for us. Like, I think we, as a culture, men aren't really required to grow up as fast anymore, and so it was kind of fun to just kind of get into that. So that's what it was really about, and I knew that the one thing I wanted to do was do a comedy where people didn't see the joke coming, so I really wanted to cast it with people that weren't, like, comics or comedic actors by definition. You know, you don't think of him as a comedic actor, but he's, you know, obviously, like, really funny, and so that was another important element of it.
So, like, for you, since we're film school rejects, we always like to know, like, what is your ultimate, like, reject moment, you know, in life and film. We ask people to really pour themselves out for us. So.
Wow, the ultimate reject moment. Well, there are obviously career ones that are just too painful to really even talk about. I mean, you know, I think doing this project was born out of just, like, kind of beating my head against the wall as a screenwriter in Hollywood, and just kind of walking away from it and adapting a book that you know, that just kind of I really loved, but wasn't, like, you know, it wasn't one that was, like, you know, certainly not like The Firm or anything like that. It's this wonderful book that people just, you know, had to really search out and find, and hopefully now, you know, the one thing that would be really great is because of this movie, people got to read this really great book. So it was, you know, I think certainly, you know, the character of Barry has certain autobiographical elements, so there's lots of rejection that's gone into play for me to want to do a movie about a guy like this. This is a real confessional, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh my God. It could get really ugly.
There's a couch outside.
Yeah, I think we may need to really take this to a couch right away. I'll think of something, and it'll be
good.
Really sad, and you'll cry.
All right. Promise?
Yes,
okay.
I promise.
So, what is something that you haven't really gotten to share yet? Like, I mean, because these press days, I mean, everything just comes out like it's typed, you know, after a while. Cause
you just kind of do your same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what's something that you haven't really gotten to say that, you know, you just really love people to hear?
Well, I think, you know, the one thing with this film is that it's, you know, it's a really hard sell when you just kind of just talk about it. It doesn't seem like the film that it is. And one of the things that I really wanted to do early on is I love movies, obviously, even like we all do, but there's this really specific, like, era of comedies in the 70s into, like, the 80s, like, or late 60s into the 80s, you know, The Graduate and Harold and Maude up to Tootsie, where they were really hilariously funny movies, but also, like, a lot of drama, a lot of heart, a lot of conflict, and things like Harold and Maude, where, you know, if you tell, you know, it's a story of a teenage boy falling in love with an elderly woman, that doesn't sound like the greatest movie, but it is, like, one of the greatest movies, you know, and so I looked at people like Hal Ashby and Mike Nichols and Sidney Pollack and, you know, some of my heroes, and really, certainly I'm not comparing this movie to any of those, but it was, like, kind of, for me, my attempt at some kind of love letter to that kind of comedy, you know, that was, that when you're on the DVD shelf at Blockbuster, is you kind of are like, where is it exactly fitting, you know, and so, you know, we had a lot of fun with the absurdity, but at the end of the day, we really wanted to make a sweet movie and a real romantic comedy, in the sense that, you know, it's not like, it's how people really do kind of fall in love, and it's a little awkward and ugly and messy, and, you know, when you take the glasses off, she isn't a model at the end of it. He is kind of the same dopey guy, even though he's had a lot of personal growth inside. We don't turn them into handsome and beautiful, you know, couple walking off into the sunset. And I think that was, like, really important to me, was to just kind of just be real about it, you know.
Yeah, so I really can't wait to write about it, because you know, like you said, it's hilarious, but at the same time it has so much heart.
Oh, thanks.
You know?
Thanks.
So, like, what was probably, like, one of your more, like, funny, like, things on set that maybe you had to scrap in the film, or just?
Oh my God, there's so many scenes that I wish we could have, and hopefully there'll be a DVD that we can show all these scenes. Like, you know, in the earliest drafts, there were the air guitar competition and the strip club happened at different times, and I had to put them together and make them one night to kind of move it. But in the air guitar competition, Colin Hanks plays Heavy Metal Greg, the air guitarist, and he ends up kidnapping Barry in this crazy van and taking him on this. And they're actually they're more like a weird theater troupe of air guitarists, and they're very sweet. But it was like this totally absurd thing that went on, and I would love for people to see that scene. And you know, we also I would love for people to see the outtakes, particularly trying for about, I mean, how many hours was it? About like 4 hours? 77 hours trying to get him to say the word poop in a doctor's office. And we have every take, and it was amazing to watch him. And he would even, we have one take where he's like, it's just a word, poop, 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 poop. Okay, I can do it. And then it would just fall apart. It was kind of amazing.
That's awesome. Well, we really appreciate you sitting with us.
Oh,
and again, totally enjoyed it, and we really hope the best for you.
I love your site so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.